Welcome to New Realities. My name is Steinfeld, and this program is an ongoing series about a spiritual awakening that's happening around the country and around the world. So each week I bring people to this program who are activating a human potential that we all have, that we have yet to realize. And tonight's guest is very much a part of this wave of accelerated consciousness. His name is Edwin Harkness Spina, and he's the author of Mystic Warrior and the author of a DVD called Energy Center Clearing. Thanks, Edwin.
Thank you for having me, Alan.
You know, your story is really interesting because you're just a regular guy, right, minding your own business in Florida, and then these teachers and these things started to happen to you. Tell people that story, because I think there's a lot of people who watch this program that may have no idea what we're talking about, but someday they'll have an awakening where, wow.
Someday they'll get it.
So what happened to you exactly?
Okay, one of the things that woke me up is I was a venture capitalist, and then I was an entrepreneur, having a traditional business life.
In Florida?
In Florida.
Right.
And a girlfriend sent me to Blockbuster Video. And this was when they were acquiring all these new stores, and they hadn't had a chance to weed out all the non-mainstream material. Mm-hmm. And I had seen all the new releases, and so I came by this CD, it was a videotape. They didn't even have DVDs then. It was Dick Sutphin's Past Life Regression.
Right, I met Dick Sutphin, yeah.
Okay, and he's one of the original pioneers in the human consciousness movement. And I look in the back, it says it's going to calm you down and relax you. And I'm an entrepreneur, I'm high stress. I said, let's try this out. So we go back, and after dinner, we pop it in the VCR, and we watch it. It hypnotizes us. He takes us through a guided meditation, and I go into an altered state. He says, you're 15 years old. What year are you in? Go back to a lifetime that has relevance to this one.
And you didn't believe any of this at all, right?
I had no idea what was going to happen.
But, I mean, were you open to this kind of stuff, or did you think it was all like nonsense?
I didn't think it was nonsense. I was open. I was.
You didn't have an experience.
But I had no experience and
so
no interest in spiritual matters.
Okay.
So he said, you're 15 years old. What year is it? And I knew the year. He said, what's your name? What country do you live in? What are you wearing? What do you live? What's your job? And I knew all the answers.
Wow.
So when he brought us back to regular waking awareness, I wrote down everything. Because here's the ex-mathematician, businessman. I didn't just accept it blindly. I needed to go research and see if it was true.
Right.
And I saw that everything matched exactly. And then I still didn't say, was this a past life recall or not? I'm not sure. But one thing I know is I accessed this information that I had no other way of knowing.
I'm just curious, what was that lifetime?
Well, I don't like to say, but it was it was a fairly it was well known enough that I could research the lifetime and see what it was.
Oh, I see. So okay, we'll talk about that.
So
okay, but anyway, it verified stuff that you really didn't have any knowledge of before you had that.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so I said, okay, my training was incomplete as a mathematician studying physics, and at the university level, my science education was incomplete, so I started studying mysticism, metaphysics, past life regression, karma, all the subjects that we talk about on your show.
And it made sense then, these subjects. I mean, for someone really left brain, these mystical subjects might not make sense, but something in you was already awakening.
It was awakening.
Yeah.
And my earnestness to learn this material was so intense that I attracted the attention of my first mentor.
Yeah, tell us about your first mentor.
And this, I call her Sophie because she shuns all publicity. You can't find her online. You can't buy a course with her. She decides whether or not she's going to be your teacher.
Really?
And
I hope she's watching this program.
I hope she's watching also, because I have great appreciation for what she showed me and taught me.
So she found you?
She found me.
When the student was ready, the teacher arrived.
Exactly. That's
really?
Exactly how
it
happens.
It really does work. So how did that meeting happen?
Well, when I first walked into her office, she looked at me and just said, come with me, and took me into the back room. And she basically told me things that no one would know. You know, my parents don't even know.
But why were you actually in her office?
Someone told me to go to this particular place that she would be able to give me some advice. You know, who knows what would happen. So I went there, and she gave me unbelievable advice. But then she would have me do other things, which further showed me that the science that I learned in college was incomplete. I'll give you one example. She took from her shelf on the office these quartz crystals. She had a jar of them. Said pick 4. So I picked 4, and they were just garden variety quartz crystals, single terminated. She said, go home at night and put these on the 4 corners of your bed, pointing toward your head. So I did that, and at night I could feel energy coming from the 4 points to my third eye.
Wow!
And wherever I moved, it was almost humorous because it was they moved with me. The next day she said, turn them around, point them toward your feet. So I did that, and the same thing happened.
Towards your third eye, you felt this activation in your third eye.
The terminations were pointing toward my feet, but I still felt it going to my third eye.
Oh.
The third day, she says, bring them into me. So I gather up the crystals and I put them in my hand, and I realize they're now magnetized.
What do you mean magnetized?
If I have them pointed in the same direction, I could roll them across the table just by going near there.
Really?
If I turn them this way, they would stick together like a bar magnet.
How'd that happen?
I don't know. It was one of those mysteries that I knew the science education was incomplete.
Wow, wow. Because there is a science to this mystical stuff. It's just a science that hasn't been investigated by the West. So I like that kind of approach to mysticism, the fact that it's not just all unknown, that we have the capacity to really know what the teaching is, but we have to go beyond the old way of looking at things.
Right.
So go ahead.
So I knew that my education was incomplete, and I started studying even more. And she would have other things she would do with me. And my time with her was very short, and by the end of my time, most of my training was telepathic with her.
Really?
She would say, call me at 9 o'clock.
Telepathically, she would say that?
Yeah. Well, first, she would have me call her daily.
Just to check in?
Just to check in. So I would call her, and she says, call me at 9 o'clock, and she would hang up. And then 9 or 8:45 or sometime before 9, I would feel the tingling in my third eye.
Wow.
And then I would go to my recliner or bed or lay down, and then I would talk to her, and I would talk just like we're talking now. I would have a full conversation with her. She would answer my questions and then say, okay, are you going to call me? Well, there's no need. You answered all my questions. Okay, call me tomorrow.
And you would know, but the thing is, you would know that this is real. That's what's so exciting about what you're saying. There was no doubt. I mean, because a lot of people come upon mystical information still. Is it my mind? Am I imagining this? But for you, because you came from that real academic background, sounds like you knew what was real for you and what wasn't.
Well, I would verify it with her. When I would see her in person, I would say, when you told me this, and she would, yes, that's exactly how it is. And so I wasn't naive and just blindly accepting things, and occasionally I would make mistakes.
But you had a real experience.
Yeah, real experience, and I verified, just like a scientist would. You would verify that, is this what you said? Am I right to assume that this is what, yes, that's correct.
That's very exciting.
It was a fascinating period.
So then what happened?
So after when she got me to the level that she thought I should be at, she just disappeared.
You couldn't find her?
I couldn't find her. She vanished. There was no phone number, no address, as if she had never been there. And I couldn't even connect with her mentally anymore.
And you still can't connect with her mentally?
Every once in a while I get a sign that she's kind of overlooking, overshadowing me, watching. But
what do you think she was really trying to get you to understand or be? What was the deeper? She wasn't just training you on that level of, energy. Something else was happening.
Well, to wake me up enough that I can share my knowledge and gifts with everyone else, I had to get to a certain level, and she got me there.
But I think what was happening on like a soul level for you, you know what I'm saying? Not just the energy and mental level, but in a deeper way, something was like expanding inside you.
Yes. Okay. Well, more specifically, she opened up all my energy centers.
Right.
She did it from the Eastern perspective, the chakras. She would open them up, and there would be days where I would have and I would feel as if someone was pulling a plant out of the center of my forehead, and she would explain, I'm making your third eye more sensitive. Other times I would feel pins and needles on the crown of my head. Sometimes almost like there's a whole ray of energy coming out of there.
Right. Wow. So she was working etherically on you, and she was actually. And I'm just curious where her training was from, because she sounds like a real master.
I guess from a variety of places. She was very mysterious. She didn't tell me. She would say, "We don't have time to go into that." She would just tell me what I needed to do, and she knew that our time together would be short, maybe by her design. And so she said, "I'm sorry if I appear gruff, but." We have very little time, and we can't. There's a lot of work I have to do with you, and I have to get it done.
Wow! And why you? I mean, because you were ready for it, or?
Well, in hindsight, there was one I was trying to figure out. Maybe there's a past life connection with her.
Yes.
And there was one lifetime that kept showing up to me, and I thought I knew my wife in that lifetime, and it wasn't her, and I couldn't figure it out. And then the voice in my head once said, "No, you were her. You and her were the same person."
You and this teacher were the same
Yes,
person.
We were both the two souls incarnated in the same body.
Wow.
So that was one of the reasons why we had such a strong connection, is that we had lived a whole life together.
I mean, in a way, you don't really need to see her again. I mean, it would probably be nice.
Right, it would be nice.
But maybe when you get to another level,
maybe she'll show up. I hope so.
So then what happened? So you got that really intense training and energy, and what did you learn sort of there?
Well, what she said was, okay, there'll be other teachers after me, and it was kind of, I tensed because I knew this was a foreshadowing that she was going to disappear. And sure enough, she did. And it was years, and I continued studying my mysticism and energy healing. And then I came across another fellow. This is my good friend Tommy, who's still he's still available.
You could use his real name.
Tommy Rosa. He's in Florida. I met him in Florida. And I was living in Florida. Whenever new energy healers that would come into town, I would hear about them, and I would go to see them to see if they were legitimate, to see if I could recommend them, or so I could have an opinion.
Right.
And I went to see Tommy, and I could feel the energy coming off him just sitting in the same room as him. So I knew right away that he was legitimate. And what he did is he looked at me and he says, "Oh, you have a problem with your right hip." And I had forgotten I had a problem with my right hip because I had crashed on a bicycle one time, and I couldn't open up my right hip in a figure 4 as readily as my left hip. So he says, "Oh, we'll fix that." And then he said, "Okay, in 2 minutes it should be fixed, and now I can open up my right hip as well as my left hip."
Wow.
That was just a simple thing that he did.
And he taught you how to do this, right?
Well, the basic thing that he gave me is energy.
What he gave you energy?
I mean, he would pump up my energy. As human beings, we have different energy bodies. We have a physical body, and pretty much everyone knows you're not your physical body.
Right.
But we also have emotional bodies, mental bodies, and spiritual bodies. And your ability to hold on to higher vibrational energy and to be more in tune with your innermost self is a function of how much of this higher vibrational energy that you can incorporate into your body and hold on to.
Right.
And over time, he would pump up my energy, and then it would slowly come down over the course of a week. Then he would pump it up, slowly come down.
How would he pump it up? And that's the part
Well, he would just wave his hand like this, open up a portal of higher energy, and pump it into my body.
And can you do that now?
Yes, that's what I can do now.
Are you doing it right now?
I can do it right now.
Are you giving me energy?
You're getting energy.
Because actually I have this little cold here, like a little, so would you be able to help?
Yeah, we can pump energy.
Are you feeling like that sort of?
Yeah, I don't, for the most part, I don't diagnose. I just fill someone with so much overwhelmingly higher energy.
Keep doing that?
Yeah. I pump it into each of your energy centers: heart, thymus, throat, third eye, crown, stomach, kidney, spleen, pancreas, liver, your testes. And I just pull out all the discordant energies that come out right away.
You went through all the chakras, basically, the organs connected to the chakras.
Right, the organs from a Western perspective, because most people are more familiar with, say, the pituitary gland or pineal gland versus the third eye or crown chakra.
When you were giving energy, were you visualizing it, or were you sensing the energy running through you?
The energy, it's not my energy, it's the energy that I can transmit from the universal source.
I do feel better. I do feel good.
So you're surrounded. If we pump you up a little bit more, and if I raise your vibration.
Can you do that?
Yeah, just raise your vibration.
You're raising it now? Okay.
And you can just let go of anything you don't want. Any thoughts, feelings, emotions, attachments, concerns. And I'm tuning in a little bit so I feel some of the discordant energies.
Wow, it's really...
Yeah. All the lower energies have to leave, so I'm pulling them out. And this is my calibration. I feel it in my lips.
You feel it in your lips?
Just as unique to me.
Wow.
You feel different?
I do.
Yes. Well,
Thank
people
you.
watching will probably feel some of the energy as well.
I mean, people out on the cameras will feel what you've done.
It's not electromagnetic, it's beyond time and space, but by the fact that we're doing this at this time, it'll be transmitted. People on the internet, if they're sensitive, will be able to feel it.
Wow.
And watching on TV.
Oh. Yeah, I feel my hands vibrating a little more and...
Tingling. You're actually using your inner senses to feel this because it's not a physical sense anymore, but it's such an overwhelming amount of energy that you can feel it.
So this guy, Tommy, taught you how to do that?
Right. He pumped me up enough where my energy got to a high enough level that I could just open up the portal and pump it into people. And it wouldn't matter if you were in London, if you were in Buenos Aires.
Oh, they don't have to be sitting in front of you to do this?
That's why over the TV or internet, you can still feel it.
And you're teaching other people how to do this?
Right. Well, raise their energy. That's what my energy center clearing actually clears out the energies. It's a full-blown meditation where they it's a visualization, a guided visualization. They clear out their energy centers, and they get the added benefit of having this energy infused into the CD that pumps them full of the energy.
Wow, I do feel a clearing in my...
Now, sometimes what happens is, like if you had a bad cold and we did this, your nose might start running. That's because the toxins in your body, whether they're toxic energies, emotional and thoughts, or whether they've manifested it physically, they have to come out somehow. And there's only a few ways they can come out.
Right. No, I feel like, yeah, it's good work. So, but let's talk about the human potential that is in all of us. I mean, we all have, but there's so much more. There's remote viewing. There's, even like, I think bilocation with your body. I mean, there's the masters who really can do these incredible things. So what have you learned, and what do you think is possible?
In the study of mysticism is the spiritual discipline aimed at direct communion with God or the ultimate reality. That's the ultimate goal, where you merge with the oneness, that then you and I and the Father are one, as Jesus would have put it. It's just that's your ultimate goal.
Is merging with the Spirit.
With God, with the divine aspect in the heart of every one of us. That's what we're ultimately trying to do.
We all have the divine part already in us. In a way, it's already merged, because it's a divine force that gives life to, or even manifestation to, all of creation.
Right, that's the force. As you want to be totally aligned with that. You want to surrender to the will of God. Merge your will with the Father, whatever name you want to give it, whatever religion it is. That's your ultimate quest.
Okay.
Now, the way this divine aspect communicates with your mind and with your body is through the energy centers.
Through the chakras.
Right, chakras or energy centers, depending on east or west, whatever method you want to go by. But so it makes common sense. As you clear out the energy centers, you're going to have you're going to be able to detect and taste these more subtle vibrations.
So how do you clear out the energy centers?
Well, this is what we just did with you. Quickly, we could do it quickly because I have a lot of practice doing it.
Right.
But if you did the energy center clearing, it would be a 27-minute meditation, and is a visualization where you clear them out, kind of from a visualization standpoint as well as with the energy.
Would you get this on your website, Mystic Warrior?
Yeah, well, energycenterclearing.com that's directly to that. If you went to mysticwarrior.us,
you get the book.
You get the book, and on the left is a navigation where it says energy clearing. Would take you to that website.
So this is what you teach, and this is what you do for people as an energy healer. But what else are you studying now? Where's your potential lie?
Well, I gravitate toward the Advaita Hindu non-duality, all is one. That's my not preferred path. I mean, I was raised as a Christian. Jesus is one of the role models that I would try to model. But that from a theoretical standpoint, the Advaita.
What does that mean to you, Advaita?
All is one.
So how do you practice that?
Meditation, merging into the oneness, trying to overcome the duality of life here on Earth and some of the higher planes. It's still a duality until you get above that, where they have the unity experience. And if we were able to do that 24/7, people would look at us as you're enlightened, illuminated, self-realized.
But you've had that experience, right?
I've had glimpses of it, but for short periods of time, and I can't even tell in a time aspect how long those lasted. But I've only had glimpses of it. I haven't.
What do you think is in the way of you living in that space? I mean, I'm just asking that. Do you think you have more? Because once you get to that place, you're sort of like, in a way, your drive, I think, for doing on the planet is changed. So maybe you're here to do and teach with an ego personality, as opposed to having already transcended that. That's just the feeling I get.
Right. Well, that's almost like the East and the West. The West is more take this knowledge and share it and do it. The East is more when you're ready, you'll get to be like I am.
So could that? I mean, it's just putting out there. Maybe that. I mean, even though you're wanting to get there, you're still here to teach people a lot of the gifts that you've uncovered.
Yes. I mean, a long-term mystic that I looked up to was in a lecture once, and I got to meet him after the lecture.
Who was that?
His name, Lonnie. He was talking about a mystic's role in society, and I wanted to connect with him because he mentioned spiritual warrior a couple of times, and he seemed to be looking right at me, and I thought maybe he knows I wrote mystic warrior.
Right.
And he didn't. He said, but one of the things he said was, when I'm up there, it's not Lonnie lecturing, it's the master within, meaning the divine aspect at his heart. And he was the one that told me that I modeled myself after. He said, I said, oh, you're an advanced mystic. And he got offended almost. He said, no, I'm a long-term mystic, and I may be a little further on the mystic path than others, but there are other people ahead of me, and our job is to help the other people that may not be as far along, to help them get to our level.
So you're really a teacher and healer. That's your work in the world.
Right.
And a student.
Continuing student.
We're all continuing students.
Yes.
But I just get the sense, in the mystical level, in teaching, there's more that's coming to you.
Yes, I write a newsletter also, a monthly newsletter. It's free.
How do we get that?
If you go to mysticwarrior.us or energycenterclearing.com, either one, you can sign up for it. In fact, if you go to energycenterclearing.com, it's more recent newsletter.
And what's in the newsletter?
Different mystical techniques to improve your life.
Well, like what? Give me some mystical
overcoming
techniques.
stress. What is stress? Stress is discordant energies that have gotten lodged into your physical, emotional, and mental bodies. The discordant, they're not in lower vibrational energies you want to get rid of. Meditation is ultimately what you want to do. This is like an accelerated, in some ways is an accelerated meditation, because instead of having to wait till you get to the proper frame of mind, you can bring the higher energy right down to earth here and immerse yourself in it right away.
But how would I overcome stress? Let's say I do have...
Well, meditation is the ultimate.
Well, when you say meditation, there's many forms of meditation, so...
Right.
What do you recommend?
Any way where you can commune with that divine aspect in your innermost self, whether it's from breathing exercises, chanting, devotional, any way you want to do that is good. I'd like to do things energetically because to me it's so much faster.
Right.
And so that's my preferred way.
So what is energetically meditation for you?
Well, here's something that everyone can do that maybe this will... most people, they're not going to be able to open up the portal yet. It took me a year working with Tommy after I was already studying for years before I was at a high enough energetic level to do that. But what everyone can do right now is you can visualize either yourself or your mom or whoever it is, your spouse, anyone you want to heal. Just visualize a little 6-inch version of them in front of you and just pack love into them. And I will, like as if you're making a snowball. People in New York understand snowballs. In LA, I have to explain what a snowball is. But you just pack the love into them, and I like to use the thing, absolute, unconditional, infinite, divine love. By doing this, you'll actually be packing love into the person. It's faster than trying to open your heart or radiate or praying, and people that need the help can get it. And again, this is a shortcut to where the person is. They could be in London, Buenos Aires, anywhere in the world. And just by your intention of knowing that they are here, you can focus love and send it to them. And it will calm them down. That will help de-stress them.
Now, de-stress, you can do that for others.
Yes, you can do it for others.
So you're talking about opening a portal. What, can you describe what a portal is and how you open it?
It's just a doorway, and by constant practice and knowing that when I wave my hand in this counterclockwise motion, the energy...
So wait, if I do that counterclockwise,
right.
And what am I visualizing or picturing?
Just visualizing that the higher energy is coming through.
Through my hand?
Yeah, through the little circular doorway you've created.
So I'm visualizing a circular doorway, and then
See,
what?
but the problem is you don't have the energy quite yet to be able to make it happen.
Should I pump some energy up?
Well, over time, it took me, like I said, it took a year to get to that point, and hopefully it will happen faster for other people.
Right.
But one way is by being in contact with someone with the higher energy. That's why, like in the Hindu traditions, you see the guru sitting there, and he's surrounded by his followers, and they're sweeping and cooking and cleaning, and they're not doing that because that he needs 6 guys cleaning up after him.
Right.
They're there because they're hanging out in his energy, so that they're getting the energy transmission from him.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to pump a little energy into it, okay? So it's counterclockwise.
I'm going to pump energy through you. So
okay,
so
and it's counterclockwise because it's an opening.
Sending higher vibrational energies out into the world.
Into the world, okay. So I'm going to take your energy and add my energy to it and do this, okay. Okay, I feel the energy building. Okay. That's good. Okay.
I'll be curious to get feedback from our viewers and see how they like it.
All right. How did I do? I mean, did you feel the energy
yeah,
shift as I was able to tap into that a little bit?
I think you were. I mean, you could feel the energy coming through you
I could.
So I think it was a good thing.
So all I need to do to increase my energy is I've been hanging out with some amazing high energy beings.
Right.
I met John of God recently.
Right.
I saw Mother Mira. There was a guy named Brasso.
Brasso, yes,
yeah.
from Yugoslavia.
What do you
right.
think of his energy?
I didn't get a chance to see him. He came through LA and I had a different event to go to. I couldn't make it to his.
He's incredible. No, there's so many people with like this energy
higher
field
energy.
that's happening right now. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, I've been hanging out with the energy. So how do I access their energy fields to help build
Just by
mine?
being with someone who's of a higher energy, you'll automatically be enveloped in their aura. You'll pick it up. And but if you want to, a shortcut is go to energycenterclearing.com, get the CD.
Get the CD.
And no, I mean, people, kahunas and Reiki masters and that, they use it because it's faster for them to get energy from that than it is to do their own practices.
Really? And this is the energy you put into the CD?
Yes.
Now, do you feel your energy field can even increase even more?
Yes, yes.
So you won't even have to do this? You can just be in the presence?
You can be, just by hanging out with people, they get the benefit of being in your energy. That's the case, but this is just like more focused.
Because I've been like around crystal skulls, I've been around crop circles. All this are really, for me, higher energy frequencies. So maybe something's rubbing off.
It's helping, I'm sure. But one of the reasons that Tommy is able to give this gift to me, I didn't mention this earlier, is he had a near-death experience.
Oh.
He was run over by a truck.
Oh.
He had 7 cracked vertebra, 9 broken ribs, collapsed lung, fractured skull, and he was pronounced dead. But he didn't die. But unlike most people that have the near-death experience, they go to the white light and then they come back again. It's not your time. He knew that his body was so traumatized he'd never be able to put that together again. So he switched with another soul, a more advanced soul.
Oh, he's a walk-in then.
So he's a walk-in, okay. You know the term.
Yeah, no, I've been interviewing walk-ins. There was a guy named Robert Young on this show who had a really amazing experience. So what did that do, being a walk-in soul?
He came in, he still has memories of living in the higher worlds, and he has so much more energy available to him.
Thank you, Ed, for all your time here and for writing this beautiful book about the Mystic Warrior. And your website again is?
mysticwarrior.us and energycenterclearing.com.
Really, he'll be back in New York and probably around the country lecturing and giving workshops. So I really recommend doing that, taking some of your workshops.
That would be super.
To activate what our true divine potential really is, which is understanding and embracing our energy bodies. So thank you for watching New Realities. I'm Alan Steinfeld. And if you want to reach me, email me at newrealities@earthlink.net.